but it ain't my body. That's what makes it different. You might have, everybody else might have the same thing they got on their bodies I got on my body, but this is my body. So it's different if you experience me. Somebody that's awake knows that that is not true. They know that love can come to them through infinite numbers of bodies and trees and leaves and houses and cars and everything, because everything is alive. Everything has consciousness. Yeah. Everything has consciousness. This microphone is letting me speak through it. If it didn't like what I was saying enough, it would just cut off, and it would seem like something was wrong with my mic. And my mic stopped working. And I'd look for the electrical cause if I was unconscious. If I'm conscious, I know, the mic don't want me to talk through it right now. So I just need to ask the mic if it's okay if I continue. I had that experience with the door last Thursday night when I was leaving here. Couldn't lock the door for nothing. I was trying to do every way possible. I was trying to get that door locked, and it was a big old door, and all of a sudden I went, what am I thinking about? Everything has consciousness. Everything has awareness. I need to ask the door if it's all right if I lock it. Maybe the door don't want to be locked. So I took a minute to have a expression at the door. I said, first I said, hey, door, you know, it's a nice night, isn't it? And you know, just had a little conversation. And asked the door basically if it was okay if I locked it. And then I stuck the key in the door and it went click. And I left.
Yeah.
So you need to start asking the thing what it wants. You really do need to greet your car and ask your car to let you ride in it. Because if it don't like you, it will strand you.
Yeah.
And if it really don't like you, it'll commit caricide. You call it being totaled. It was trying to kill you. It was sick of you not changing its oil. It was tired of you not treating it right. You know what I'm saying? Took you right over a cliff. The brakes just happened to give out. You mean you didn't hear that laugh as your car went over the cliff? As it went through the ravine? Everything has consciousness. This is a dream. It is all alive. Talk to it all. Ask all of it to show you who you are and what love is. Ask all of it to be a gateway to your having the experience of love and truth. Everything here is a cooperative venture. Everything is happening because everything is cooperating with everything. That's why we even sit here breathing. We're the ones who think we're so special that we put ourselves outside of the oneness. And we're suffering for that very misperception. So now we think we're taking care of ourselves through our own wits, instead of realizing that in creation, there is no need that you can have that will not be met until you recognize that there is no need. But you won't recognize that through using methods that you learn from the world. But you deserve it, and you deserve total joy. But you acknowledge yourself. Did you give it up? For being willing to remember. Woo! Woo! How can it get better than this? That's the question, Bonnie. How can it get better than this?
Oh, mercy.
Because everything that you work in your can off, and that I work my can off in order to manifest, could be given to you as a gift because of who you are, your consciousness. There are more people that could love you than you could ever get around to. There are more people that can remind you of the truth than you could ever get around to. Okay, one thing you heard today, one thing I heard tonight that I really want to keep in mind is
you want to have a first-hand experience.
Yes.
You want to have a direct experience of what you've been learning and hearing about. Good. I do too, David. I'm going to join you in that idea. Let's use our relationship for the purpose of having first-hand experience of truth and love and joy. And let's do it with each other by applying it to each other first, as much as we possibly can. So there won't be some theory that we're reading about in a book. Because I'll have you for a witness and you'll have me for a witness. Anybody else?
My old way of thinking and learning is not the way to learn what I really want to learn.
Your old way of thinking and learning is not the way to learn what you really want to learn now. Thank you, brother. Over here, somebody.
My dissatisfaction is a gift.
Your dissatisfaction is a gift. Why? Who remembers why?
It invites me to get more, because I'm not getting everything.
Right. It's moving you toward even more of what you really deserve.
Yeah.
And what's really valuable. It keeps you from being stuck. But that's not to say you shouldn't enjoy what you have. As a matter of fact, the more you appreciate what you have, the more it extends and expands. Actually, we do it backwards. It's like through the appreciation of what I have, then more is created. Rather than, so if I'm going to have this satisfaction, I need to understand that all that did was just reveal to me that I had just manifested something that I made up that I thought would make me happy. That's all. It just showed me that, oh, this is something I made up that I thought would make me happy. That's why it didn't last but for a little while. Anybody else thought they heard?
I don't need any validation. I need to trust my own guidance.
Yeah. There's a point on the path where it becomes such an individualized curriculum that to compare your path to somebody else's path actually delays you. So there is a point on the path that it looks like you're kind of on your own, but you're really not. So you have these periods where it looks like you're surrounded by like-minded people who are kind of like you're all together in this doing it, and then you both begin to transform, and then you go through a period where it looks like you're on your own doing it your own way for a while, and then you turn into something new, and then you draw people who are then like that, and then you have this other period again of looking like you have these mighty companions all around you. Then you evolve again, and you go through that period again where you got to trust your own inner guidance and your own inner path. Whether or not it looks like anybody else is doing the same thing, you stick to it, then you become that. Then those who are like that, they show up again, and each time it should get better. At least that's been my experience of the course. Has been the hardest part was the beginning, but as the longer I'm on the path, the more loving the people I meet and the more peaceful experiences I have, and everything just seems to, from within, seem better and better no matter what's going on the outside. So my path doesn't get harder. It gets easier. The hardest part was getting started. The beginning is always the hardest part because your old self is fighting for its life and is trying to convince you that everything you're trying to do is crazy because it's going against everything you were taught. So if you're at that point right now where you're disoriented and you're confused and you think your life sucks in some way, it's just you got an alarm clock going wild. Your alarm clock is going, wake up. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you've been taught it is. There's a truth that you're avoiding, that you really can't have what you want, but you're not being true to yourself. That's why you're unhappy. And that's why you have a life that's reflecting that back to you. You're not being true to yourself. You live in somebody else's life. You live in a life that somebody else told you should want to live, who usually aren't too happy themselves, even as they're directing you to do it. It's amazing how many miserable people tried to tell me how to be happy as I go on my path. The couple that never touch each other, never smile at each other, that's the people who are trying to tell me how to have a relationship. And the person who can't afford to go to a movie is the one that's telling me what to do with my money. You know what I'm saying? The person who can't hug is trying to tell me what love is and connection is. And all of a sudden I realized that I was getting a lot of advice from people who weren't demonstrating anything they were telling me. And I was glad they passed on some cool information. I'm thankful. I've had so many people in my life who were so cool that they showed me what not to do in order to be happy. They said that they showed me through their demonstration, this is absolutely the way not to be.
That's so cool.
Yeah, parents, relatives, I can think of it. They said, look, I am going to love you so much, I'm going to physically give you an example of what happens when you're afraid, of what happens when you blame, what happens when you don't recognize you're one. And I've had just as many of those beautiful, beautiful beings in my life as I've had the ones who show me examples of joy and peace and happiness. Both of them are lovely because they're teaching me that I learn through comparison and contrast. So the relationships that I have now are so cool to me because I actually understand what it's like to have the ones that are based on attack and blame and projection. And through having those experiences, I get a chance to go, oh, I don't think I'll choose that right now. You know, I'm so glad peace is more important to me than a peace. It wasn't always that way. It was not always that way. But fortunately, I enjoyed my era.
You took your time learning.
That's what just take your time. This might be a mistake tonight, but I'm going to see. I know I have a nasty habit of just talking like people talk. I know you're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be all holy now, so we don't say stuff like this in a holy class. But you know, sometimes holy people are so boring. They don't do nothing but be holy. And that's my point of view. Okay, so let's take a couple of minutes. Let's take a breath. Thank you for letting me be myself again. It is difficult for you to accept that what you most need to know cannot be achieved through the same methods you have used in order to know about other things. In creation, all needs are fulfilled the instant they become needs, which is why there are no needs. In creation, all needs are fulfilled the instant they become needs. So if you have a need, that need has been fulfilled, and you want to ask yourself this question: how can I let go of everything that keeps me from knowing all my needs have been met? How can I let go of all blocks that would keep me from knowing that my needs have been met? How can my needs be met in ways beyond my wildest imagination? How can my needs be met even when I don't think I deserve for my needs to be met? How can the love come to me even when I think I'm not worthy of the love? How can it come in ways beyond anything I could imagine? It's time for you to have the first-hand experience of love. Do you know that it's time for you to have the first-hand experience of love? Do you know that you have learned from others just to bring you to this point where you can start to experience this stuff that you've been reading about? That you can experience the peace. You can experience the fulfillment. You can experience the healing. You can experience the right connection, the loving relationship. May the course be with you. I appreciate y'all. Oh, thank you, Reverend, everyone, that used my body and now you're about to throw me aside. The Holy Spirit just uses my body and he just throws me aside. Hugs are available for those who like them.